This is the organizational meeting. There are actually two meetings tonight. We'll go through the organizational meeting, then we'll move on to the regular business meeting. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. Corey, if you could take the roll call. Actually, before you do that, let me introduce our new board members and returning members. Katie Nunsom is back from Plasta for a 3-year term. Mark Schulerwood from Sandown, 3-year term. Michael Boucher from Atkinson, you're on a 1-year term, correct? Yeah. Kim McCormick from Danville, 3-year term. Barbara Kitska's back. Amy Cantone and Steve Finnegan. And Kristen Savage will not be here tonight, and I'm here again. Okay. So if you could take the roll call, please, Corey.
Michael Boucher. Kim Farah.
Here.
Stephen Finnegan.
Present.
Amy Gentile. Here. Barbara Kishka.
Present.
Katie Knudsen. Kim McCormick.
Here.
Mark Sherwood.
Here.
And Kristen Savage, not here.
Thank you. New board members, just so you know, they usually drop the mic if you're not speaking, so sometimes there's a little lag. If you could rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we move on, I do want to send a thank you to Maria Kaylee and Kelly, right, for getting this organized this evening. Thank you very much. We had a departure in the SAU, and the two of them stepped up and put these quite meaty agenda packets together, so thanks for stepping up. Okay, moving on to, I've already done the election results, moving on to the election of officers. The first officer that we elect will be the election of chair. Are there any nominations for chair?
I would like to nominate Steve Finnegan for chair.
Barbara nominates Mr. Finnegan. Katie seconds. Are there any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations for chair? If there are no other nominations, I will move to vote for the chair. All in favor of Steve Finnegan for chair, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Opposed? Abstaining? 1. Congratulations. The meeting's now yours.
Well, yeah.
Celebration's over. You're welcome to come up here if you want me to, kind of assist.
Oh, no. I'd like to be part of the crowd here, if that's okay. Is that all right, everybody?
All right, wherever you want.
Yeah.
I would just like to take a moment to thank Dr. Kim Farah for her tremendous hard work, keeping the operations running smoothly over the last couple very bumpy years. Her communication and organization skills have been excellent. The amount of dedication she's shown is outstanding. I know we might not always agree with her, but oh my goodness, she's done so much to keep this place afloat. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. So the next election would be for vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
Krista Savage.
Okay, we have a nomination of Kristen Savage. Do we have a second? Okay, we got a nomination and a second. Katie seconded that. Any other nominations for vice chair?
We don't allow for nominations if the person's not here, but she has expressed interest to the board members, so I think it's suitable that we allow this nomination to go forward.
Thank you. Any other nominations? If there are no other nominations, we'll take a vote. So we have a nomination for Kristen Savage as vice chair. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 to 0. Kristen, when you watch this over again, congratulations for vice chair. All right. The next is school district clerk, appointments for school district clerk. Are we,
Page, and you'll see the deep agenda. So we're looking to reappoint Kat Lancaster as school district clerk.
thank you. As you'll see, that I will be leaning on Kim a lot. So, Kat Lancaster is seeking a reappointment for school district clerk. Do we have a nomination for Kat? Thank you.
Second.
All right, I have a first and a second there. Any discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor of Kat Lancaster as the school district clerk? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8-0. Congratulations, Kat. Next, we have school board recording secretary, Corinne Zueli. Did I say that right? Zuli. Oh, I got to get better at this. Corinne Zuli, seeking reappointment for school board recording secretary. Do I have a motion?
Motion to appoint Corinne Zuli as school board recording secretary.
Great.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? 8-0. Congratulations, Corinne. Next is treasurer. We have a Kathleen Beatty is seeking reappointment for treasurer. Do I have a motion for treasurer?
Move to appoint Kathy Beatty as treasurer.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Great, thank you. I have a motion and a second for treasurer for Kathleen Beatty. All in favor? 8-0. Motion passes. Congratulations, Kathleen. Next is assistant treasurer. Gloria Dodge is seeking reappointment. Do I have a motion for assistant treasurer?
I'll make the motion to appoint Gloria Dodge as assistant treasurer.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Katie. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? 8-0. Congratulations, Gloria. Next is school council, but we're seeking recommendations from the board and superintendent. Currently, Drummond Woodsum currently serves in this capacity. Do we have any other nomination?
We do not have any other nominations at this time. We'd like to continue to assess. And currently, we are still in the middle of a number of legal situations with our current council, so I don't believe it would be prudent at this time to make any changes, but we'll continue to assess that as we move forward.
Okay.
So at this time, I would suggest that we just table that appointment. There's really no need to appoint that. We are using various agencies depending on what item is being handled at the SAU.
Okay. Do we take a vote to table that, or?
No.
Okay,
We don't
so we'll
need to
just,
table it. We're just not appointing a specific council at this time.
okay, great. Next is the bonding, recommendation to bond the treasurer and the assistant treasurer as required by statute and the Department of Revenue Administration.
I'll make a motion to bond the treasurer and assistant treasurer per policy DH.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? 8-0, thank you. That passes. Designating banks. The bank depository recommendation to appoint TD Bank as as the district bank for Timberlane Regional District, School District.
I'll motion to appoint TD Bank as the district bank for the district.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is that our current bank?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Sure.
Is that the only bank we consider?
Yep.
Oh,
I mean, if we were looking to go out to a different bank, which I'm not opposed to doing on a periodic basis, because sometimes banks come in with better rates, if they're seeing that you may, especially with an account of our size, we could do that, but that would really essentially probably almost go out to bid for banking services, because it's such a large account, which I don't know. Chair might want to ask the superintendent to check into that. I don't know if we've gone out in a long time. It might be, it's a lot of work, but sometimes if you go out, you can have a good savings.
We could look into that and come back with a summary as to the history of our banking and
That would be great. Thank you.
Do we want to put a time limit on how much time to spend on that? I mean, we don't want it to turn into a huge thing.
Sure. Do we think we could have some type of assessment in 2 weeks when we return?
yes.
Okay, great. So we'll, why don't we table this until that time where we get a,
No. We still need to vote this. We need
Okay.
to do this right now.
okay,
If we're going to move, it would be over a certain time period, and we would then make it effective on such and such a date.
okay. So we still do need to vote on this. So do I have a motion to, as a recommendation to appoint TD Bank as our district bank?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? 8-0. That motion passes. Next is the review and adopt policies. Policy DFA regarding investment is to be reviewed on an annual basis per district auditors and RSAs. No changes proposed. Is this an adoption of policy DFA?
No, this is just a reaffirmation of, it's just a review.
Okay.
I don't think it's,
Do we motion to reaffirm?
yeah, I think we should just motion to reaffirm, just so for the auditor's sake, there's a motion and a second. So Barbara makes a motion, I'll second to reaffirm the policy, DFA.
Great, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
The DFA, if you can briefly summarize it.
Attached.
It should be in your packet.
It is in
Yeah.
your,
Bonds
these
and
are all in
employees.
your packet.
Okay.
Yeah,
It has to
DFA.
do with the investment of the funds that are in our accounts.
Okay.
Any other discussion? So we have a motion and a second. All in
I just want to say it's a very conservative, we're not out there investing.
No Bitcoin allowed.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? 8-0. Thank you for reaffirmation. Next is policy E, is that I or EL?
EI.
EI, thank you. Risk management requires an annual review and adoption. So again, that policy is in your packet. There are no proposed changes.
I'll make a motion to reaffirm policy EI on risk management.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to readopt policy EI. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? 8-0. Next is School Board Ethics Statement, BCA-R, to be reviewed and signed by all members on an annual basis in accordance with the board policy BCA. Again, that is in your packet, so I will look for a motion to adopt.
Motion to reaffirm BCA-R.
Reaffirm, thank you.
No, I'm sorry, no, that's not what you're doing here.
Okay.
What you need to do here is each board member needs to read this and sign this, and then it's filed with in the SAU office.
Okay. Yep, so on the second page of this, your signature and date after you read this, and we'll take that when you're completed with it. So there's no real motion on that, right? It's just.
No, this is just, board members are asked to sign this, and it goes into the SAU. You don't have to sign it tonight if you don't want, if you haven't had time to read it. I know the agenda packets were late coming out.
Okay. Next is the meeting dates, time, and place. So the last part of this first packet we have is the school board meeting dates for 22-23. So the recommendation to hold school board meetings on the first and third Thursdays of the month at 7 p.m. At the Performing Arts Center. We will waive the first Thursday meeting in July and August and reserve the right to amend the meeting schedule as needed. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? 8-0. Great. And I think that will conclude our first, the organizational meeting. All right, is that everything? Yeah. Do we make a motion to end this meeting and begin the next?
No, you don't need to make a motion to end.
Okay.
You can just close the meeting, and then we can open up the other meeting. The agenda does say it starts at 7:30, but at the bottom of the agenda on the organizational meeting, it says right after, so I think we're okay.
Okay, super. Thank you. So we will close the organizational meeting and open up the school board meeting for Thursday, March 17th. Okay. Do we need to do another roll call, or are we good with the?
I think we're good with the roll call.
Thank you. Sorry, I promise to not ask.
No.
Next time. All right, so we do have meeting minutes from February 10th. And
March 3rd.
I'll make a motion to approve
Thank you.
the February 10th minutes.
okay, I have a motion to approve the February 10th minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the February 10th minutes. Any discussion?
If you weren't on the board, I would suggest abstaining on these approval of the minutes.
Right. So all those in favor of approval? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? Abstain? 1, 2, 3, 5, 0, 3. That passes. Thank you.
Motion to approve March 3rd minutes.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve the March 3rd minutes. Any conversation on those? All in favor? 1, 2, 2. Opposed? Abstain? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 206. I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but that doesn't seem to, does that pass 2-0 and 6 abstain?
I think it
I think it
has to
passes.
pass this, well,
Right.
that's the vote, so.
Yeah, all right. I guess you don't have to be a mathematician, right?
It's not defeated, no, it passes. The
Okay.
ayes have it. The
Yeah.
abstentions don't count as no's, so.
Right, okay.
Before you move on, there are 7 sets of non-public minutes that we need to approve.
7?
Yes.
I did not see those in the packet, though.
They are not in the packet because they're non-public minutes.
Right.
So, and I'll take part of the response. Well, board members that were on the board will know why some of these minutes have been held for so long. So, but there's something that we need to get this straightened out. So, for new board members, you're welcome to read these non-public minutes. You shouldn't vote on them. And these all need to come back to the superintendent because these will all be destroyed except for a copy that will remain on file in the SAU. So, the superintendent has the packets. We're going to have to vote on each of these individually because I think not all board members were here for,
Okay.
well, you'll know if you're here because when you read the minutes, you'll know whether or not you were in attendance. So, you're going to have to vote each of these individually.
Okay.
So can we take until 7:30 to read these? What time is it now?
Well, I think what we should do, well,
It's 7:21. Yeah, I'm okay with taking,
We could recess till
yeah, why don't we
7:30.
recess until 7:30? It's 7:22, we'll take a recess until 7:30, come back and vote on the non-public meeting minutes. All right.
And just to be clear, if there are any questions regarding non-public minutes that may, that are beyond the scope of, say, simple editorial changes, then the minutes will need to be discussed in a non-public session.
Welcome back. It is 7:30. We are going to go through the approval of the non-public meeting minutes. I will go individually through each of those. There are 7. So I need a motion, or may I have a motion to approve the October 7th, 2021 non-public minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the October 7th minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Were you there?
Actually, discussion, sorry. Point of order, discussion. Just an error on the top. It says board members present. My name is actually missing, but I was there, I promise. So if we could just have that added to the top. But other than that, any other discussion? Yes.
Motion to amend, since you were at all of them and the people who were present were at all of them, can we just do it as one big?
No,
we have to
that's-
do it
no,
separate?
not everybody was present in all those minutes.
Oh, okay.
Meetings, no.
Yeah, there's a couple that there weren't, so. Okay. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor of the approval for October 7th?
As amended.
As amended? Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? Abstain? 1, 2, 3, 503. Thank you. Then we have the November 9th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the November 9th non-public minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Well, there is no discussion because that would have to be in public, non-public. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? Abstain? 503. Next are the November 18th.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 18th non-public minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? 5. Opposed? Abstain? Abstain? Thank you. 503. Thank you. The December 2nd.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 2nd non-public minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed? Abstain? 404. Thank you. December 16th.
Motion to approve the non-publics for December 16th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All approve? All right, I have 3 opposed. Abstain? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 305. Next is the January 6th. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the January 6th non-public minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Barbara. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? Abstain? 503. And last, the February 3rd meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the February 3rd non-public session minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? Abstain? 503. Thank you.
So if everybody could turn those back to the superintendent.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There you are, sir. I think that was,
We got them.
yeah, I think it was all of them. Thank you. Okay. Next up is delegates and individuals. I have 1, Coral Hampy from Danville.
Good evening. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Just want to, Coral Hampy Danville TTA President, just want to welcome the new members to the board. We very much look forward to working with you, returning members as well, and thank you to the members who are not returning. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next, we have student representative.
Pollard is currently hosting a book fair. This event raises money to support Pollard's library by buying materials and paying for programming. March 14th was Pi Day. Staff and students ate pie and participated in learning activities. They had lots of fun celebrating the most famous transcendental number. The Pollard Chorus joined the Atkinson Chorus as part of the Advisory District Chorus Concert. It was part of the wonderful night of live music that celebrated the vocal talents of many of Pollard's penguins. Danville School was happy to welcome several new families to incoming kindergarten information night on March 7th. Staff says that they were excited to meet several new families and look forward to welcoming their newest Danville Hawks in the fall. Many 4th and 5th graders joined with students from Sandown North for the Spring Chorus concert on March 14th. They did an excellent job performing on stage for the very first time as one group together. If you want to know how to catch a leprechaun, stop by Sandown Central School and ask any kindergarten student. As part of their science unit pushes and pulls, kindergartners have been busy designing leprechaun traps. During play this week, you will find the preschool students visiting the local flower shop and pre-K students venturing into space. They have so many stories to tell and write about. Last Thursday, the kindergarten staff held TLC's Kindergarten Parent Information Night, which was a success. This week, Mrs. Gallagher from Atkinson Academy was kind enough to send in a full newsletter about what Academy students are up to. This letter will be emailed to the board following my report tonight. In art with Mrs. Alexander, kindergarten students are learning about the color wheel. First grade students are learning how to weave on paper loom. Third graders are printing radial symmetric designs. Fourth graders are practicing clay construction techniques, and fifth graders are making Chinese New Year dragons. On the music side of things, Atkinson is additionally participating in Music in Our Schools Month. The purpose of this is to raise awareness of the importance of music education for all children and to remind citizens that school is where all children should have access to music. Led by the National Association for Music Education, music educators and students throughout the United States and overseas are demonstrating this March the powerful role a quality music program plays in the lives of young people. This year's theme is pre-modern music history. There are many events and activities that have been planned at the Academy. The first is the morning announcements, which will include a short music blurb each day. There is a vote for Best Instrumental, which will take place each day during the morning meeting as a part of Music Instrument Madness. The school is also hosting a Music Spirit Week. More information about other areas of study at the Academy will be found in the emailed newsletter. Up at the high school, spring sports are getting ready to begin. Tryouts for high school sports, including track, tennis, lacrosse, baseball, and softball, start on Monday, March 21st. Boys volleyball will start on March 28th. Middle school tryouts will also start on this day. Timberland Athletics would additionally like to say a huge congratulations to TRHS gymnast Jenna Mermay. Jenna qualified for nationals after a strong performance at the New England Championship meet on Sunday, March 12th. In the recital hall, the Timberland players are currently having their opening night of their student and faculty-written one-act comedies on the subject of meta-theater, plays about plays. The Spanish and French Honor Societies are continuing their elementary school outreach program, and this is going very well. Yesterday, the Spanish Honor Society traveled to Pollard to teach 4th and 5th graders about spring celebrations in Spain. Project Hope had an immense success this past weekend in their annual Strut for a Cure event. Over $10,000 were raised for local families battling cancer. TRHS would like to thank everyone who volunteered, attended, and donated, and especially issue a huge thank you to Ms. Bird and Ms. Trainer for coordinating this event. Student council members have been hard at work preparing for upcoming events, such as their annual Big Buddy, Little Buddy mentorship program with third graders at Sandown North. These students have received pen pal letters from high school sophomores through seniors and will get to come up to the high school to spend a day with their Big Buddy this spring. In addition, the student council is planning their annual Egg My House Easter fundraiser. More information can be found on the Timberland High School and Student Council Facebook as well as Instagram pages. Finally, student council members are also currently working on planning a charity coin drive for those affected by current events in Ukraine, and more information on this will be made available early next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Next, our current business. Just like to invite Carl up to give the facilities update. Sorry, Carl, didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Should be used to it by now. Good evening, welcome, thank you for having me. I just want to announce that our energy rebate came in for the electric lighting upgrades that we're doing. Unitil has paid us $28,146 for the middle school lights and another $38,421 for the high school. We're almost complete with both of these projects. I'd say we're about 95% complete, and then we're moving into the pack, and then we're going to start doing the elementary schools. So it's a great accomplishment, and we're going to be saving energy already.
$1,000, right?
$66,567.
Thank you.
Performance contract and ESSER fund projects. There was a meeting last Friday on the 4th of March to go over final details of the plans being put together for the ESSER funds and the HVAC upgrades at the middle school. That school was chosen due to the immediate needs of the systems and the fact that we are trying to reduce the prevailing wage costs across the district. Walkthrough of the 8 systems being replaced with the ESSER funds was conducted on Monday, and stamp plans and drawings are going to be submitted to the State Fire Marshal's office so that we can put in to get the ESSER funds approved. They're going to continue with the performance contracting audits for the rest of the district, and hopefully we'll have numbers ready for the fall so we can start figuring out how we're going to budget for that portion of the projects. Sandown North, the room partition that's been ordered, we're hoping it's going to be in by April vacation. As you know, supply chains everywhere causing delays on everything. The arsenic filtration at Sandown North has been installed and is complete. Sandown North fire panel, we're still waiting for that to come in. Again, supply chain issues. The guidance and technology office carpets have been replaced. They look outstanding, and I believe they're happy, right, Mitch? And the new SAU 106 sign is in. I'm trying to get it installed right now. We're waiting for the weather to warm up a little bit. And high school, middle school batting cages, they're all up and standing, and we're starting to hang the nets in preparation for the season to start. And the company will come back and start doing some beautification around them. The ground just froze before they could get finished with them. Boiler room at Pollard Elementary School, we did a major renovation up there. We're still waiting for some details from Bosch, the manufacturers for the boilers, to come in. We have a couple issues with the boilers themselves, so they're going to come in and do some troubleshooting for us. And then personnel update. I'm sorry, we're missing 4 people right now in our department. We have a groundskeeper that's no longer with us, 2 custodians, one at the high school, one at Atkins Academy, and a, what's the last one? Oh, and a maintenance mechanic who left us to go to another district. That's it for me. Is there anything else?
Thank you, Carl. Are there any questions for Carl?
Not certain whether it's appropriate now because it ties into some of the notes that we looked at either earlier from the non-public regarding fees, specifically to Sandown North. I can table that if it's inappropriate to ask my question now. I don't want to, query something that should not be discussed in public. But if you look back at the notes. If I have it circled on my particular paperwork. Well, if there's a new one coming in, then isn't that a moot point? But I would assume that would be included with the cost, incorporated with the cost of the panel itself. And I assume that I could ask that question because that was non-public.
Anything there is being talked about here.
Okay, so that would be a fair question.
You want to know what the cost of that panel is?
So the cost of the panel for Sandown North, and what does that include? the fire panel, we're expecting to get that in at some point, again, supply chain issues. Do you happen to know offhand what that, does that just include the panel installation, the panel installation?
The panel and the
licensing?
panel installation, there's another $4,000 cost for additional troubleshooting that they're going to have to do inside the building to make sure that all the wires are good.
Would that roll under the licensing of it?
No, it's just additional troubleshooting.
Okay. Are you aware of any additional fees that would be incurred in addition to what you stated for having that panel installed?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Well,
Any other questions?
Does that make sense?
Are they functional right now?
so the Pollard boilers are functional. They have, each boiler has 2 chambers or 2 modules in it, and we have one boiler that has 2 issues with a module and another module that's totally clogged. There was an issue with a leaking pump that was allowing too much water into the system, which caused a lot of, so the boiler waters, these new high-performance boilers, they condense is what they're called, and they create a lot of scale if there's any new water added to it. Anything in there just scales up on the inside of the boilers, and it was causing a lot of clogs and stuff. So we got the pump replaced, and now we're waiting for Bosch to come in and help us with the programming of the bad boiler chamber. It's clogged.
So if I understand correctly, it's not working efficiently then?
Well, they are working efficiently, they're just not working till their full capacity. So most of these boilers are meant to run one chamber at a time, and if it gets real cold and they can't keep up, then both chambers would run up. But we have 6 chambers altogether, and 3 of them are not, or 2 of them are not working fully.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, when I was going through the check register, I noticed that we have several fire control panels that had to have troubleshooting. So how many panels are in trouble right now, and what are the plans for repairing or replacing?
So the high school panel is in trouble right now. It's intermittent. It has something to do with the enunciator board, and anytime you try to work on it, it's not in trouble. So it's one of those things that we have to try to catch it in trouble. Our fire panel inspection company, they've offered to replace it at a cost of somewhere around $30,000. I'm trying to not do that since it's just an intermittent trouble, and it's with an enunciator panel. I'm not too worried about that. Sandown North is constantly in trouble. The PAC has been in trouble, but they fixed something with it today, and we had these. So let me explain. These panels are all old. They're very old, and we're trying to baby them. Hopefully we can get them, some of them rolled into the performance contract. I know the middle school one we're going to try to get replaced because it's seen its better days. It's not in trouble right now. We've got it working, but there's pretty much all of them in the district need something.
Thank you, Carl.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Okay, thank you, Carl.
You're welcome.
Next is some action that we do have to take, and there is a request for a waiver to waive the bid policy. I'll just read this. Pursuant to policy DJE, which is bidding requirement, which is located on the back of this in your notes, board members, the policy DJE. Bidding requirements, expenditures exceeding $10,000 will require written competitive bids. Again, the copy of the policy is attached. Currently, our district utilizes the state of New Hampshire bid process as a system to acquire vehicles. This system has proven to be effective and has been utilized to meet the needs of the district. However, a global microchip shortage and other obstacles have resulted in a broad shortage of new cars and trucks, which has in turn diminished the supply of vehicles and have driven prices skyward across the board. I think we're probably all feeling that. In light of this, in light of the lack of vehicles, administration is requesting a waiver of the school board policy DJE to allow the district to purchase a maintenance van and a maintenance truck with the dump body. We do have these vehicles in the budget. If the school board is so inclined to do so, the cleanest way to handle this would be by motion to waive the school board policy DJE to allow for the purchase of these two vehicles. Any questions? Kim?
So I talked to Maria about this a little bit earlier today when I went through the packet because I was a little unclear. She's looking to have the policy waived, but what she needs is a letter of commitment from the board that we are authorizing the funding of these so that they can go out to various dealerships and say, we have the funds, will you quote us a price? What it doesn't mean is that they're only going to go to one dealership, but they need to show before these dealers are going to work with them nowadays because everything's in such short supply, that they have the authorization to move forward with a purchase. So I think we're looking to do two things, is to waive the bid policy and authorize, probably we need the chair to sign a letter of commitment on behalf of the district or the superintendent. Excuse me?
I will say the superintendent.
We're going to authorize the superintendent to sign a letter of commitment on behalf of the district for the purchase of those vehicles, so that they'll give us quotes on those. So I'll make a motion to waive the bid policy and to authorize the superintendent to provide a letter of commitment to the business office for the purchase of those two vehicles.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Barbara?
I just want to understand, I think the reason we're waiving it is because if we waited for somebody to respond to a bid, we wouldn't see anybody doing that because the cars are flying off the lot. Is that correct?
Right, they won't, according to Maria, they won't even take bids. I mean, you can't go out with an RFP, no one's going to give you a
So
response.
if we waited for an RFP, we would never get a vehicle.
We would never get a bid.
We usually use the state bid process, and Kyle contacted the dealership that won the state bid, and they don't have any cars.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Michael?
So I actually have two questions. So the first question you sort of touched on, Ken. So I understand that you're going to some extent, still kind of act like the bid process, except you're not going to wait for a bid. You're going to go out and get different offers. Okay. And then I guess the second question for waiving this policy would, if we were to authorize the waiver, would it become permanent or would it be temporary?
No, you're only waiving it
specific
for
to
It will be
this.
for this instance.
Yeah, it's specific to this purchase.
And just so you know, new members, we're very strict with the bid policy. We put everything out to bid. Nowadays, it's hard to even get bidders. Some of the RFPs that we have put out there, we have gotten one bid, and that's pretty common right now. So, but we do our best with everything we put RFPs for, and you can go on the website and look at our RFPs for the new members.
Great. Any other? Yeah, Barbara?
Could we put an amendment not to exceed the budgeted amount? I mean, I trust Maria would never do that, but
I don't know that we have a budgeted amount, right? It just said that these are in the budget.
well, if they're in the budget, there's an amount.
Well, we did have an amount in the CIP. I don't know as I would want to limit it to that point because they may well be above what we budgeted because we budgeted based on just an estimate. Because we didn't go out, we don't typically go out to bid when we put it into the budget. So sometimes it will come in a little higher, sometimes a little lower.
If I can say something about, please keep in mind that our budgets are almost 2 years behind. Like we last fall, we budget for the 2023 budget. So anything that you put in the budget is already probably short price. And with the crisis of the vehicles, I will appreciate if we have some wiggle room there because it's whatever we can find. And especially the 550, the truck, we can go next winter with that truck. It's just, we can't plow snow with that truck. So I will appreciate if we have some wiggle room. Obviously, I will make my best effort, and me and my team will make sure that we get the best deal that we can, but we need room for it.
Thank you, Maria.
For pricing, do you know what sort of wiggle room you think would be appropriate at this stage? Has anybody?
Yes, Carl and
We just want you to get your steps in.
yesterday, and walked around every single building in the district, so we got over 10,000 steps in, so thanks already. However, we did only have one bidder for that show up to the process too, so it's a tough market out there. Everybody's busy, and so that kind of lays our problem. What I did is, the state usually goes out to bid for vehicles a couple times a year, and I jumped on their bid process because it just makes it easier. We have several different companies, vendors that we can look at, and I looked at a couple of them. The prices that were coming in were still within our budgetary limits, but they, again, nobody had the vehicles. He says, yep, I put out the bid, I called the company, I called Ford or Dodge, and we don't have any vehicles available coming to us. So what they're asking for now is you have to walk in and say, I want to buy a truck, put up a number, and get me the quote on what it's going to be. So until we get that information to them, they really aren't going to give us a price until we can tell them what we want.
So I guess the reason for my question is, what sort of flexibility are you looking for, and have you had the opportunity to see it? Are we talking, so the process where, 2 years, it was based on pricing 2 years ago, and we know that's not what it is right now. Are you looking for cost override potential of 10,000, 5,000?
I'm not thinking we're going to have to override right now, because again, like I said, when they went out to bid, just in December, the prices came back well below what was budgeted for the van. So I was just looking at the van. The 550 that we're looking to replace, we're not sure even what we want yet. We don't know if we want to stick with the 550 because, again, this doesn't come available to us until July. So we're just starting the process now, but we're thinking about maybe a 350 with dually wheels on the back with the dump body, which would be just as good for us here.
So you're looking for flexibility.
We want a little flexibility with what we're replacing it with. Yeah. But again, at this point, the prices still don't seem that exorbitant. Of course, once we buy it, we do have to outfit it with all the shelving and everything and make sure it's safe for the maintenance guy that's going to be driving it.
We do. And a second. So we do have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any other questions for Carl and Maria? Okay. I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-0. That motion passes. Thank you. Next is the executive summary on the TRSD summer learning. Sandy, I'll call you up to chat
Yeah,
about
so
it.
Steve, because I was chair, I just asked for these to be put on, the agenda just to keep it in our purview as we move forward. So I'm not really looking for, I didn't ask for like a long presentation or anything.
Okay.
And I'm happy to speak to it briefly.
Thank you, Sandy.
And I did, knowing that we had new people joining us this evening, welcome to all of you. I did try to summarize some of the information that we presented 2 weeks ago, knowing that you weren't here to hear that. So just overall, we do in a normal year in the summer have multiple programs that happen. So you can read about them here. Extended School Year, ESY, is for special education students that need additional work connected to their IEP goals and support during summer months. So that's by invite only. We have Title I summer camp that happens every summer. We have three Title I elementary schools in our district. Sandown North, Pollard Elementary, and Danville School currently receive Title I funding through federal grant funds. So every summer, we identify students based on a rank order system, which is part of the federal guidance with regard to providing Title I services. So those include academic data points. We have students who might be part of free and reduced lunch, who might be on McKinney-Vento, homeless. So there are certain points that are allocated for each of those categories. From there, we identify students who may benefit from these services, and we invite them to attend our Title I summer programs. Those are normal programs that run every summer. We fully intend to run those again this summer, and we'll go through our normal procedures for that. We also, in normal years, have summer school at the high school. For many years, that program has been targeted at credit recovery. So students who have failing grades for the year or for quarter 4 are invited to come and complete summer credit recovery. And we have high school staff who staff those programs. Students attend that also for athletic eligibility so that they can participate in fall sports. So again, that is another program that we intend to run this summer. New this summer, we are looking to run both an academic summer intervention camp in the morning across all of our district schools. So Atkinson Academy is not a Title I school. We plan to run this at Atkinson. We also plan to run this at our other 4 elementary schools for students who don't qualify for Title I. We'll extend this to the middle school, and we're looking to do this at the high school as well. So the morning sessions would be targeted intervention in math and English language arts. We will use a database system similar to what I just described for Title I to identify students in need, and they will receive invitations late this spring to invite those students to come. We are looking to provide transportation if possible. That program will be funded through the ESSER 3 grant, which, again, there's some information in your packet about the total allocation. So the board voted when you accepted the ESSER 3 grant back in December to allocate the 20% requirement of that grant to target learning loss and address learning loss throughout the pandemic. So we would be using and accessing those funds to run that summer academic intervention program across our 7 schools. We're also looking to open up some afternoon enrichment and enriching academic opportunities, we're calling them. Those would be open to all students across the district. We're hoping to align times so that students who come in the morning sessions for ESY, Title I, summer school even, or our new ESSER morning intervention program could attend these afternoon enrichment programs. And other students who are not coming in the mornings could hopefully come to, it would likely be on this campus, and attend different sessions that could range from STEAM opportunities, that could be something connected to the performing arts. We might have more advanced kind of boot camp courses at the high school level for AP courses. So we're not sure what that's going to look like yet. We did reach out to our staff very recently to inform them of the summer employment opportunities that we have available, to ask them to complete a survey to indicate interest in all of those different programs and potentially propose some of those enriching opportunities. So we're sorting through that data. It continues to come in. And that's open for paraeducators who also help us and give us a lot of support, especially in ESY and the summer program. So that's where we are at right now. We're actively planning, so we're happy to come back regularly to update you on where we're at and answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Sandy. Are there any questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
ask
Amy.
a general question. I was looking at the hourly rate for professional staff and paraeducators. What is that based off of? Is that based off of a contractual obligation?
Not, so the $30 an hour is what last year we compensated for ESY. Title I, because it was grant funded, traditionally had been $25 an hour. We are looking to increase that, so we're looking to request that through the Title I grant. And so we look to align the professional, the compensation for professional certified educators across the board, across all of our programs. So we don't have programs that are competing with one another. The $30 an hour rate, although this is a summer program, which is not committee work, but through the CBA for TTA, we do have identified $30 an hour as an hourly rate of compensation for participation in committee work. It's traditionally the rate of pay that we use to compensate teachers who attend summer curriculum work sessions and things of that sort. For the paraeducators, we looked into that, and that is the rate that was compensated last year. So we did spend some time, Maria helped us, we talked about that and dug into those rates yesterday. So.
Do you foresee any issues with staffing this summer program?
Potentially. So right now, the flyer that you see, that is what went out to staff. They're completing a Google form through the link that is not active in your PDF, but it was active in what went out to staff. Right now, that's an internal process. So we're going to keep that open for at least 2 weeks. We'll probably send a reminder next week and hope to get more staff. Right now, we're at about 29 total. That includes paraeducators and professional staff across all of those programs I described. So at some point, we will post this publicly for external candidates as well. But the reason we're not at this point confirming and locking in stone exactly what we are offering for, say, those enrichment programs is we're going to need to really look at our resources and allocate appropriately. ESY is a must-do. Title I likely will fall after that. And then we will hopefully, in summer school at the high school, and then we'll hope to staff as much as we can this ESSER program or ESSER-funded enrichment program.
Thank you.
Steve?
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then I think Michael. My concern with the way that you are setting this up, speaking as a single parent who worked, is that doing something just in the morning gets to be problematic for people with their work schedule, especially if they're, don't have another person to help them out. Have you, I would suggest reaching out to the parents of the students that really, really need the help and trying to maybe think about, does it make more sense to do day-long programs for a week versus these morning programs? But I just think it's problematic in terms of getting the students that really need to be there.
Yes, yeah. We talked about that. Part of the idea of offering the intervention in the morning and enrichment in the afternoon was to provide the opportunities for those students coming in the morning to attend full day.
So they could just go through?
They could go through. They could stay. It would not provide that opportunity for students attending just the afternoon sessions because the morning sessions are really targeted, focused, academic sessions for students identified as in need or who would benefit from that. So.
I mean, there's a lot of money there, too. I almost think of it as being akin to, maybe you could set it up akin to like the school year where if parents need to drop those kids off early and they need to stay till 5 o'clock, that they could, if there's some, even working with a Y or something like that. So that it makes it easy for parents to do
I know
this.
Chris had a meeting yesterday. I don't know if we didn't get a chance to
Okay,
debrief on it, actually.
if you're on it, that's fine, but I just want to make some of the parents that can, just can't afford to take the time off, but those kids are in need.
We're really looking to make this first step, as Amy pointed out, and we are concerned about staffing, as is everybody, right? That is a global problem, a difficulty. We've been fortunate. I know last year we have a very committed staff. And, that's how we're able to do that. We expect that we'll be able to staff our programs again this year, again, due to that commitment. But we're looking to grow those programs this year and then expand, hopefully, in subsequent years. I did meet with Marco Abreu, who is the CEO of the Salem Boys and Girls Club. And we talked about a number of different possibilities with regard to forming a partnership with them. I will reach out and meet with the Y as well. We had talked about that with respect to preschool and trying to form partnerships with preschools and daycares in the area as well. That's one of the things that we need to do. We have to establish some partnerships to assist and make these opportunities available to kids in something that allows for greater convenience for parents in order for them to be able to have their kids access them. So that is absolutely something that we are focused on.
Yeah. I would just add, and you're absolutely right, it is a large sum of money, and we're fortunate to have that for 2 more full years. So this is one activity. We have other plans for academic supports to target learning loss for all of next year, next summer, the following year. So we're also trying to be mindful that we're hoping to draw on these resources and provide as much support as we can over the next 2 years. So.
Thank you.
Was I mistaken, or did you reference there you were looking at transportation and transportation needs?
We are,
It seems like it may address some of these.
Absolutely. So we, ESY does provide transportation. We are looking at options to either combine our routes with our ESY buses and or fund additional buses through the ESSER funding so that students who are at our neighborhood schools for Title I could come directly to this campus or potentially students who are at home, coming for the afternoon. So that is also, we're working on that. Chris is, communicates with the transportation or the busing company. And so we're trying to align that between ESY to see what we can. Once we know the number of students who are coming and what those routes look like, we can determine whether or not that's feasible. So.
I had a question for, just an inquiry question here. So you said these programs were offered last year, the ESY and the Title I, correct?
Yes.
Out of the number of students that were invited last year, do you know roughly the percentage that actually attended?
I do not off the top of my head, but we can certainly look into that. And that's a great point. It's by invite only. It doesn't always turn out that they all come. But we do see very good attendance at those programs. And we do track with data through Title I. It's part of the grant as well. We look at growth for those students who do attend as compared to their peers who did not. So that's something that we track to evaluate the success of the program and make improvements every year.
Three, and in talking with Kelly Brooks. So we had, for extended school year anyway, I can share a little bit, about 200 students. I don't know how many were recommended by their IEP team. Extended school year is something that we are required to offer if the IEP team recommends it. I can tell you, over nearly 30 years of doing that in another town, we would run a little bit higher numbers because we're a little bit larger school district, but some days you could have everyone that was, not everyone that was recommended, but everyone that decided to come. But on average, about 50% of the students actually attend. But again, you might have weeks with everybody, then you have other weeks, kids are going on vacation, if it's really hot, lots of different factors. But the percentage of those recommended to those that say they will attend, we can probably dig up some of that information, but we'll definitely track that this year.
Well, based on your experience, in the other school system there, did they supply you transportation?
For extended school year, yes, it's required. Also for Title I and some different specific programs, it is not required for the enrichment activities and even credit recovery. It's not required unless the students are identified. So that is something that it's an opportunity with the ESSER funds to consider. We're looking to utilize some of the resources that we have currently and look at see how it works by using some additional funds if that's possible. Getting drivers is also sometimes a challenge in the summertime, but I think one of the things that we have here that's a great resource is the late bus. Those late buses, not every school district does that, I can tell you that. So that creates a great opportunity for students to participate in after-school activities, so following along that same idea. And then if it works and we do have great benefit from it, then we'll look forward as these other funding sources, if they dry up, we can look for additional funding sources or bring forward to the budget process.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Sandy. All right, next is the high school end-of-year events. So this is informational. I'll just read through this really quick. June 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 7th are exam dates. I would assume those are senior exam dates. Is that accurate? Okay. June 4th, which is a Saturday, is senior breakfast, cap and gown, yearbook from 8 to 10. June 5th, which is a Sunday, dinner of excellence, which is held at the...
It's the Atkinson Country Club.
That's what I thought it was.
Usually the top 10 students, plus
Okay.
or minus.
All right, so held at the Atkinson Country Club. June 6th, which is the Monday, the Athlete Awards, also held at the Atkinson Country Club, 6 p.m. June 7th is Scholarship Night, 6 p.m. June 8th is the Wednesday, that's the exam makeup date. June 9th is graduation practice from 9 to 11, and then the senior cookout, which will follow that. June 9th also is the junior and senior awards, 6 p.m. June 10th is graduation practice from 9 to 11. June 11th is the tentative graduation, 10 a.m. And June 12th is the makeup date, the weather date for graduation. And then June 13th through the 16th is the underclassmen finals. Okay. Any questions on that? All right, moving forward. This is, we are looking for action. So next is the Luminous health insurance coverage. So as we look forward to sitting down with our retirees and exiting them, we notice that the retirees under 65 who will live out of New England don't have a health plan. Under the New Hampshire retirement system state rules, we must allow employees retiring under the New Hampshire retirement system to keep their health benefits at the full cost of the plan. We also have 2 point-of-service health plans, which are very much alike, and we have targeted them for the retirees. However, one of the plans covers New Hampshire only, and the other one covers New England. Retirees living out of New England area would only receive out-of-network benefits on those plans. To make matters worse, the majority of the union groups don't have access to the point-of-service plan in their CBA. Only the non-affiliated staff and administrators, including the TAU, would have access and be able to change to the point-of-service plan during open enrollment. Those union groups who do not have access to the point-of-service insurance per their contract would only have emergency services outside of New England until they transition over to Medicare at 65. However, under 65 retirees from those union groups could enroll in the Luminous plan on September 1st. The Luminous plan is not limited to the New England areas. It is the best practice to offer it to retirees under 65 under the Health Trust Group. Please remember, they are paying the full cost of the plan, and it has standard deductibles of $2,500 per person and $5,000 per family. And there are no additional administrative tasks associated with the under 65 plan, and there is no cost to the district. So that was a lot. So really, we're looking for action to be able to offer this health insurance plan to those who are under 65 retirees.
I'll make a motion to offer the Luminous health insurance plan for retirees under age 65.
Discussion.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second for discussion.
I'm wondering, this mentions a POS and the Luminous plan, which is a high deductible plan. I'm wondering if an HMO plan was looked at.
Here comes Dana.
Here comes Dana. We should have like music.
Yeah,
to,
everybody
like,
needs walk-up music.
right, yes. That's a great idea, Chris. I like that.
Our POS plans and our HMO plans are all New England. None of them service Texas, California, any of the other states. So the only way to keep to our obligation to New Hampshire retirement system rules and also for our under 65 retirees is to have this Luminous plan. It's like a high deductible plan. So once you meet that $2,500 and $5,000, everything is covered. But you would have, they do have certain sites that you probably would have to go to, but it's for those who are going outside of New England. Did that answer your question?
So I think the question was, there's no other option, you can't do an HMO? There's only this sort of thing?
You can do an HMO, and what happens with the HMO is that once you're out of the area, the only thing it's going to cover is the emergencies, because all health plans will cover emergencies anywhere, and that's it. And for the POS plan, like, you're gonna be paying all that, you're out of network. So you're gonna have co-insurance and deductibles and all that kind of stuff.
Because insurance is a state-specific thing.
Yeah.
Or
And
regional.
it's no cost to us at all, right? Retirees have been doing this for a long time. They either have it deducted out of their state pension check, or they can pay health trust directly. So it's no work really on our part. We're not doing anything more. We're just making an offer for those who are going to go out of state.
Any other questions? Okay, so I have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 0. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Dana. Next is the school board committee assignments. So, if my memory serves me correct, I know this is asking for action, but I think last year we allowed the new board members to at least wait until the next.
Yeah, this shouldn't be
Okay.
action, sorry.
All right.
I mean,
It's more
if you're on a
important.
little late, I would have changed it, but it's.
No,
We don't need to take action on this tonight.
Great, thank you. So, just, for the new board members, just taking a look, obviously you'd be able to cross out the folks who are not here anymore, but as you do notice, we have multiple committees. I think the expectation really is that each member of the board serves on a committee, and these committees, do meet off times of meetings, right? So they don't meet every other Thursday night, but, I guess just my expectations, or I think the board expectations would be that, we have a lot of committees, and I think, as you can see, most of the folks on the board serve on multiple committees. I will just tell you from my first year on the board, this was probably the most rewarding part of being on the board, is being on these committees. I think you get to meet a lot of the folks, the administration, some teachers, some administrators, but you really get to do a lot of interesting work. So I guess what I will ask is if you guys take these home, take a look at them, and just let me know what you're interested in, and we can, come to the next meeting and have committee assignments at that point. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
I'm wondering, having served on some of these committees, I'm wondering who decides who is on the committees for the districts and why there isn't teacher representation on some of the committees? The majority.
There has been some teacher representation on some of them, but these ones that were assigned were done so at the beginning of last year, so it's hard for me to speak specifically to why or why not.
Do you intend on having teachers serve on these committees this go around?
Hang on a second. These are board
They're board
committees, so
committees.
this is up to the board really as to, that it's a discussion between the superintendent and the board. If you feel like they should be on there, then I guess that should be a discussion. But in the past, these board committees have been around for quite some time, and the membership has been relatively stable as to who's on them. So I guess specifically, what committee are you asking about, Amy? 'Cause
Well,
I
I've
don't-
been serving on curriculum committee, and I know as being a teacher, a classroom teacher myself, that I believe that there should be representation of teachers on the curriculum committee, for example. As well as probably policy, because those policies directly impact staff, so I would definitely want to have stakeholder voice at those tables.
But your policy committee, though, is usually staffed. To say that you don't have stakeholders, you've got your administrators that are over the teachers. I would think that those would be considered stakeholders. My concern about these committees is you get too many people on these committees, you don't get anything
I'd
done.
rather have less administration
I'm not opposed to that on policy,
on curriculum.
on curriculum.
There is, and they're all admins. There's nobody that actually imposes or enacts curriculum on the curriculum committee.
I understand. Well, I see your point, having done my own curriculum committee work in my own institution. I understand what you're saying. I think that's something that could be discussed with the superintendent, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to give you the historically.
Yeah.
The superintendent has made the decision as to who goes on those, but I would think the superintendent would be open to board input on it.
Absolutely.
But I just caution about getting committees too big, because the bigger the committee, the longer it takes to get through everything.
It concerns me that there isn't teacher voice at the majority of these tables.
I have another comment with regards to these committees. You need to think about, the personnel committee in the past had 3 people on it. The chair needs to be on the personnel committee. The issue we have now with the personnel committee, in the past, there was only one union ever being negotiated at a time, because there were only 2 unions. There was TSSU, there was TTA. You now have 6 unions that have to be negotiated. You cannot just have 3 people on the personnel committee, or you will wipe them out, because there are 4 unions that have to be negotiated next year. So the board needs to think about how you're going to staff that personnel committee. Do I have a suggestion? I haven't thought it through yet, but I'm sure if I think
Other
of it
than
wrong.
me.
What?
Other than me.
Well, no, I think
Yeah.
you're going to have, you're going to need to, you've got TTA that still has to be negotiated. TSSU, which is starting from scratch on a 3-year. TSSU, in my mind, is going to take the most time, because it's a big group, and it's a pretty lengthy contract. So that needs to be negotiated. You've got the administrators union, that's probably needs to be negotiated from the get-go. The other one is the administrative assistant union, which is on a 1-year contract. That one should go fairly quickly, I think, because everything was in place with that, other than we were trying to redo the wage scale, just because it's very complex the way it is. It's got many steps, it's got many categories, and we're trying to make it a little bit simpler. At the same time, give everybody, put them in the right place. And it just got, we hit a timeline, so we set on a certain amount. So I think you just want to think about how many people you want on each of those, and the time commitment, and when you're thinking about your board committees, I think almost everybody needs to be on one of the union negotiations, basically. You've got 4 union negotiations, you need 2 people on. Everybody's going to need to step up for one of those, I think.
Right. Similarly, same concept, I think, is, Amy, to your point, you can also have subcommittees that the committees may, look for information and share information with subcommittees that might be made up of teachers and things like that for, not specifically for negotiations, but for the other committees. But same idea, being able to divide and conquer and spend more time sharing information among all the constituents. Yep.
Sorry, just so the public can hear.
I agree with you, Amy, philosophically inviting them in to get their perspective and foot-on-the-ground experience will be a breath of fresh air and useful. So I think that's the direction you're heading, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because we want to create the opportunity for a larger voice too, right? So a larger number of people than just 2 people. Sure, the concept is, right, we're going back and forth, but sometimes that communication isn't always efficient, timely, and practical. So there are other ways that we could increase that voice as well, in addition to looking at, inclusion on the committees.
Yep. So I guess what I will ask, so that I'm prepared to talk through this at our next meeting, is if board members can email me individually what they're thinking by next Friday, and I'll put that together, and we can have that ready for a discussion for our next meeting. Yep.
embarrassing question here and tip my hat a little bit. What would the appropriate opportunity be for a new board member like myself to hear from those who have served in these to get a feeling as to what exactly these different positions are? Some of them are self-explanatory, others seem rather nuanced.
Well, because I've been on every committee, I can give you a little background.
Sounds good.
Yeah, additionally, I think we're in a unique position this year with our new board members in that there are returning board members to each town. And I think this is something, really checking with your counterpart from your town, as well as sort of a mentor to talk through some of these as well, I think would be quite helpful. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, I was hoping to get some of this.
Well, I do want to say something about these committees, because just so you're aware, the capital improvement plan needs one member from each town. So when you think about staffing that, board members from the towns should talk to the other board member and see who wants to be on it. That would simplify that committee. Curriculum and assessment is just what it says, looking at curriculum changes that those will then come to the board, but they go through curriculum and assessment first. The Energy Committee, Barbara's done a great job with that, and I did read your minutes already about this construction committee, so I don't know if we should bring this up here. Well, except that it's going to have some bearing on this, but.
Okay.
And then check registers, Barbara does a great job. She checks the check registers because, as you'll see, you'll be getting requests to sign documents. Actually, I think all the board members have. Yeah.
When we get those, has Barbara already looked through all of those?
No. I get them the same time you do.
So.
But I don't sign until I've looked through it, so it's safer to sign after I sign. Just saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then the Personnel Committee deals with all the union negotiations, and the Policy Committee works diligently to try to keep our policies. How many policies do we have? A couple hundred?
Good question.
Couple hundred policies. We do have a spreadsheet now that was put together that is prioritizing them, but that committee really, that committee honestly,
It seems like that.
Steve, that committee really should probably be meeting in the summer.
Absolutely.
You are so far behind on policies, it's not even funny.
We talked about, we really need to have days
You need
as
to have
opposed
days,
to a
yeah.
couple of
Yeah,
hours
yeah,
at a
yes,
time
yeah.
to really go through, so we talked about that.
Yeah, and-
Summertime meetings.
Yeah, and I think, so the policy committee will take on a new time with their new membership. I don't think we wanted to change anything until we had new memberships. So I think the policy committee meets the first meeting in April, and I think there'll be some changes at that point. You're gonna go to the second page? You're doing a great job.
The facilities committee is again, just what it says. I don't really think that needs to, in my mind, we could even run that into the capital improvement plan, because most of the time that's what that deals with. We do need a representative to the budget committee. That member attends the budget committee meetings and then is the board's liaison to the budget committee. The General Assembly delegate, the New Hampshire School Board Association, every year has an annual meeting. Barbara did a great job. You get to vote on behalf of the board, so she polled us as to which way we wanted to vote on certain things, and then she cast our vote for the board. So that's, it's nice. It's just like a one-time commitment, but
Yeah, it's a Saturday, half a day on a Saturday
yeah, so.
in January. Or how is it closer?
Yeah, in January, so. I haven't been on the safety committee, but that deals with anything related to safety in the district. And then to the strategic planning committee, I chaired the last strategic planning committee. Are we not at the end of the strategic plan?
2023 is when it is, so we
2023,
need to start
yes,
that.
because this is my 5th year on the board. The plan is almost done. So the strategic plan needs to be
Yes.
redone.
And that will be a robust committee.
That should be a robust committee, yes, robust. And I had recommended last time that the superintendent co-chair that.
Absolutely.
Well, our previous superintendent was not on that committee.
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
Well, good, I'm glad you're happy.
Does that encompass climate and culture? Is that why
Yes.
it's listed underneath?
Those were the three prongs of the last strategic plan, had three separate sections, one being academic, climate and culture, and then facilities. So when we put it together, we did, I don't know if you were involved, we had a consultant come in and we had meetings at various locations around the district, and then we funneled everything, and then we decided these are the three major.
So would that
That
need
was
to
my
be a separate
assigned
group?
area as assistant superintendent, the climate and culture subgroup.
Sorry, you
Yeah,
were-
go ahead, Amy.
Would that be a subgroup that would meet then at this point?
Yes, well,
Okay.
what happened is once the plan was developed and we knew we had these three sections of the plan, and then COVID happened, so everything went away. Like Sandy had the part of the plan that focused on academics and was updating us periodically, and we did get updates, maybe before you were on the board, as to where we stood in the plan, because we had 5-year check marks on everything. This is year one, this is going to be happening in year two. And so, facilities had its own thing, develop a CIP, whatever. And then climate and culture also had a separate section. And so I would recommend to the chair to probably bring the current plan forward, again, take a look, see where we're at, just to form the basis as to where you want to move forward.
I can have that shared with all the board members this week.
And like I said, last time we spent some board money, we brought in a consultant to, talk to stakeholders and things. I thought it was helpful. You don't necessarily have to have that. And then the wellness committee focuses, I know when Sue Sherman was on the board, she did a lot with this committee. That's one committee I haven't been on, but they look at programs to try to improve both physical and mental wellness of the district.
Okay.
So that's a summary.
That was perfect. Thank you, Kim. Yep, go ahead.
So, I don't know if this is throwing in a curveball to all of this, but would this also be a good time to also consider creating new committees?
Yeah.
Say that again, Barbara?
We probably, as you mentioned before, Kim, there's the construction committee that we might need to form, or a subcommittee.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head how the board goes about.
Well, Maria knows that there's a whole bunch of overhead to create a whole new committee.
Yeah, no, a new board committee?
Yeah.
See, I don't know what the process is for creating a new board committee,
Oh,
honestly.
it looks like we have somebody in the audience that might.
There's a process for creating a board committee? Oh, look, Sandy knows.
Thanks, Sandy.
I don't know. I try to get rid of subcommittees, not add them, but that's okay.
So there are two policies in the board policies under category B. I think it's either BED or BDE, which identifies the board committees and what those look like, what those are. I think there are 6 of them. It speaks to the need for a quorum of SLT membership and board membership. So that's a policy for those committees. There's also a policy on advisory committees, which I think is what you were speaking to. I haven't read that, but I think that's what you might want to look at. So.
Yes, thank you. Now you've triggered that in my mind. Yes, policy BDE, if we're going to change these committees, it needs to be changed through policy.
Yep.
And then there's another policy on advisory committees. So you can't, BDF, you can't just add, we can't just do it at a board meeting, it has to go through policy.
Yep.
So if you'd like to suggest a new committee, I would probably get with Amy, because I would imagine Amy's still going to be on policy, and see if, well, I'm just looking at who's left, and it's you and Steve, so I would imagine Amy's going to be. And if they're running committees this summer, we could maybe get it through.
Yeah. So we can talk a little bit more about getting that on the agenda for the policy
Did you have one
committee.
in particular in mind, Michael?
Mentioned, well, I shouldn't say we, but it has been mentioned that there was consideration for a DEIJ committee. So I just don't want that to get forgotten.
Can you just tell me what that is, please?
Sure. It's diversity, equity, inclusion, and
Justice.
yes. Or you can change the I to a B for belonging. Which is a suggestion by the superintendent.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like there's, that has to go through policy committee, so we can take that up with the policy committee. So just to summarize, again, if you can just send to me by next Friday, I don't know what the date is next Friday.
25th.
Thank you, the 25th. What you're looking at, and I'll correlate that, and we will talk about that at our next meeting. Okay. Next is leadership retreat. I don't know that I have anything in my...
No, I was just going to speak to it, actually.
Oh, great. Even better. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, sure. We thought there was enough for you to read in this packet.
Yeah, thank you.
So we are planning our leadership retreat, a summer leadership retreat on June 28th and 29th. That would include all of the principals, assistant principals, directors, all administrators. 2 days, one overnight evening at Mills Falls in Meredith, New Hampshire, where we will do team building activities as well as really lay out a plan for, in addition to the team building, but really lay out a plan for a number of the activities and work that we need to do around moving forward with our vision and our mission as a school district, laying out some of the plans that are going to bring us to engage our community and move forward in the way that we want to and need to move forward as a school district for the benefit of our students and our entire community.
That's great. Chris, has this happened before in the past?
It has, actually. I think historically, and Sandy and Mark can probably speak more to it, but my understanding is historically, and we're going back, of course, pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah.
That leadership did a 2-night, 3-day, 2-day, 2 words, 2-day, 1-night leadership retreat. It was an academy offered by New Hampshire School Administrators Association, or no? Drummond and Woodson Legal. We're looking to do, focus specifically on our own activities that we think are going to be most beneficial to us.
That's great. Any questions? Okay. This says that we need...
I don't think this requires action.
No.
No, there's money in the budget for professional development.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Next is the IRS penalty. This is informational. I am happy to report that the pending penalty with the IRS in the amount of $131,000 has been resolved. Forms have been filed and all supporting documentation has been provided to the IRS. And board members, you'll see attached the confirmation from the IRS. I think if you just turn it over, you'll see that confirmation from the IRS. So thank you very much, Maria, for taking care of that. Any questions on that?
She was rather excited when
I
she
can
came
only
running into my
imagine.
office with that letter.
Maria, did you want to? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just be cautious about how much we discuss about this in public.
No, what I actually want to say is this was a team effort. The Human Resources Department, Kathy, was big help on that too. She helped us to communicate with the company that had filed for us back. This goes back to 2018. So Kathy and Lena and the HR department and my business department, we all pulled this through together. So I just wanted you to know that it was a team effort.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you to all who were involved.
Thank you.
Next is the administrator report.
All right. First, I want to congratulate all of our new board members and elected officers and appointed officials. So congratulations, everybody. Also want to thank you all in advance and thank all of you, of course, who've been on the board for some time now for your sacrifice and support, for doing this incredibly important work on behalf of our students, our families, our staff, and our greater community. So thank you all very much. Want to take a moment to recognize Atkinson Academy's kindergarten, first, and second grade students for their incredible fundraising efforts with their 100th day celebration of school readathon challenge. All 10 classes were challenged by their teachers to read 100 books as a class in less than 10 minutes. Thanks to an incredible effort of the students, families, and the Atkinson Academy staff, they raised over $10,000, so similar to Project Hope. And I think it's important to recognize that both of these events, for example, Project Hope and this activity, were not for fundraising for anything that the children would benefit from directly. So this event is in excess of $10,000 is going to fund primarily books, but other learning materials and supplies for the Children's Hospital at Dartmouth Hitchcock. So these are incredibly selfless activities, in the area of fundraising, really, engaged in by our total community and, led by teachers and, of course, the kids, really for the benefit of others. So really kudos to, the folks at Atkinson Academy. And I know this happens throughout our schools, and the same with Project Hope, which was an outstanding event to attend. Also, it's hiring season. We are currently looking to fill vacancies in all areas. Please visit our website where you'll find several administrative positions as well as custodian and maintenance vacancies currently. And then in the coming weeks, you will see all of our other staff positions that we are looking to hire for. We're looking to get out in front of it a lot sooner this year, and because this is the best time of the year to find the highest quality and most qualified candidates. So if there is anybody interested and you're intimidated by the application process, please do not hesitate to contact our office. I think you'd probably get Heather Greenfield or Kathy Linton or Deb Husson, who would be more than happy to help you. So for some folks, that application process looks